Hello and welcome to this third tutorial in GUIs. So today we're going to finish off our little diary program and actually get it to be functional. So the first thing we're going to do, if you look for where you made the drop down list, at the moment you should have this command and your bracket should end here just like this. Now what I want you to do is add a comma after the speech marks and write command equals new file and make sure you've closed the bracket at the end. So just where you had that bracket before, just get rid of it, put comma, command equals new file, and then remember to close the bracket at the end. Now if you want, you can copy and paste that line there underneath and then just change it to be open in Notepad, comma, command equals open file. So get your code looking like it is here so that we can give the user two different choices whether they open it in idle or in Notepad. Okay, once you've got that done, that's all we have to change on that little bit. Come down next to where you made your submit button. Have a look for it and your code should look like this without this little bit here. So again, just like up here, get rid of that bracket, put comma, command equals write to file, and close the bracket. Now basically what these commands do, they send the code to a function which we're going to declare up here in a moment, and then it will run the code in this function before returning back to the line of code where it was called from. So we're going to have three different functions for three different options. We're going to allow them to open it up within idle, we're going to allow them to open it up in Notepad, and also we want to, when the user clicked on the submit button, we want to get it to actually write to a text file. Now once you've done that, come to the very top of your file and underneath where it says from tk into import star, write in import web browser. Now this will very easily allow us to open up our text file in Notepad. So the first thing to do is use the keyword def, stands for define, and define the function called open file. Don't forget your open and close brackets and your colon, and write the following: web browser.open brackets, and in speech marks I've called it sample.txt, but you could call it diary.txt, that's fine. This is just the name of the file. It's the name of the text file that we're going to be writing text to and then opening for viewing later. Next, do def new file, open and close the brackets, put the colon in. Now this first line of code, what it does, it says go ahead and open the text file called sample and open it up in R mode. This stands for read. It will then print the contents of the text file to the screen in idle, and then it will close the text file. Exactly what we want it to do. Now finally, our write to file function. Again, it's just def, write to file, open and close brackets and colon. Now the first thing we do is we go diary entry equals textbox.get. Now what this is referring to is the text box down here. And in one line of code, what it does, it gets any text that's been written into that text entry field, and it stores it in a new variable that we've made called diary entry. Now the next thing I'm doing here, this isn't essential, but it does make it look a lot nicer. What I'm doing, I'm saying take whatever text you've stored in this variable and set it equal to the contents of the variable plus, in speech marks, \n close speech marks. Now what this does, it joins to the end of the sentence a new line character. So basically once they've submitted a diary entry, it will then put a new line, a blank line, beneath it. It moves to the next line so that it's not all just in one line. So quite nice for formatting the text file to make it look much more neat, because you have now your diary entries one line after another. This one, again, it's not absolutely essential, but again it just makes it look more professional. What this does, after you've submitted the text from the text entry field, Once you've stored it in the variable, it just deletes the contents out of the text box, allowing the user to then enter in, his next diary entry if he wants to enter more than one thing in. So this just deletes the contents of the box, so it clears it in the GUI so that it's ready for another entry. Now finally, we open up the text file in append mode. Append means you can keep adding to the text file. We don't want to use the write mode, W, because that will overwrite each time. We just want to add things to it, so we use append mode. We write the contents of the variable, so that writes the text to the text file, and finally we close the text file. Now basically done. This will now work beautifully. Just make sure you've put the code in the correct places. It might be worth now just pausing the video, leaving the code up now you've listened to the explanation, and just checking your code is the same as what you can see on the screen. When you've done that, run the code. Now what you should see is this, and you can write your diary entry. So I don't know, great day, for example, submit it. Now one thing you might find, you might at this point get an error here. Now the reason you might well get an error here is because you have at the moment not got a text file called sample.txt. So if you get an error, just go to the folder where you're saving this Python script and make yourself a text file. So you can quite easily open up Notepad on your computer and just literally go file, save it as sample.txt, and save it in exactly the same folder that you're running this code from. That way you've got the text file there to be able to append to it, read from, and everything else. So if you get an error at that point, just do that and then everything will work beautifully. So just run it again, and just to quickly show you, if I now go File, Open in Idle, it will open up my previous diary entries, which is really nice. Or if I go File, Open in Notepad, it opens in Notepad beautifully. Okay. Now if you're not sure how to find Notepad on your system, literally just go down to the Start menu, and if you click in here, you can just type in Notepad and it will bring it up for you. So there you go. Enjoy and test it to make sure it works. Once you've got it working, you might want to have a little play with it. You might want to, for example, try changing the colour of some of the text, and have a little bit of a edit of your code to make it really good. Well, I hope you enjoyed that tutorial. I'll see you next time. Bye for now.